All right. Says I'm live. We'll get us a drink here and hopefully things will start popping here in just a few minutes. Oh, me. See how cold it is everywhere else in the U.S. right now. It's a little bit chilly. It's a little bit chilly down here in the South. I might have to go get my heater in here. Right now it's, I think it's about 40 degrees. Hey, Jamie. Yeah, things didn't go as good as we wanted, did it, Jamie? I tell you what, that Nevada senator got beat by about 3,000 votes, I think, right there at the last. My wife and I were, it's cold in Pensacola. Well, wow. Yeah, I know, we got to stand tall. Pennsylvania let us down a good bit, that's for sure. That Fetterman, I can't believe the people that voted for that Fetterman. You know, it just boggles my mind that a man who definitely is mentally challenged gets in. But we'll do the best we can do. That's all we can do. And now we got Trump that's wanting to announce Tuesday, and I don't think he's going to help the U.S. by what he's going to do. I mean, I think he's going to disrupt it more. I think Trump's had his days. Move on. Let's get some other people. I don't know. I think he didn't he star in the movie The Munsters way back? Uncle Feemster. I believe that's what Uncle Fester or whatever it was. That's what people old enough to remember that. That's exactly who he looked like. It's crazy. I know it. I think DeSantis should run too, and I would like to see the U.S. get behind DeSantis and not Trump. And Trump, I think, is going to be too disruptive. He's made his way. He had some good policy, but Trump's baggage is his biggest problem. And I think that, you know, a lot of people would hate to be forced to vote for Trump next time, and he'll keep a lot of people from voting for him. The independents won't vote for him. And I just, we've got to have somebody that's sensible, but has the policies that Trump helped initiate. I don't have anything against what Trump tried to initiate. It's just how he tried to do it. I mean, he's too narcissist. It's all about, if you even hear his speech, it's about me. It's about me. I did this. I did that. You can't get it without me, and all that sort of stuff. And that's the part that hurts Trump the worst. And, you know, I don't think that we would be better off with him. Yeah, he's crazy enough to do it. And that's what he'll announce come Tuesday, I'm afraid. He's going to announce that he's running, and then he's going to, you know, for him to turn on the other Republicans even before the election, calling Ron DeSantis, sanctimonious or whatever he was calling him, and then he even turned on the guy in Virginia. Just, it's kind of disgusting to see that. Yeah, well, Trump has a base. There's no doubt about it. He has a base, but does that base work on a national scene now? That's the problem. It's not so much what he would get within his party, it's what he would get nationally. And I don't think he'll do it nationally. I really don't. I mean, there's a lot of people like me. I don't like the way he's coming off. You haven't missed much, Taylor. Just started a little bit. We were just talking, you know, about the disappointing results on Tuesday. I mean, I would like to have seen, I'm still worried about Carrie Lake out there in Arizona, but although they say that the votes coming in should go her way, the majority of them, but she needs, I think I read just a while ago, she needed 57% of the votes to be able to overtake Hobbs out there. And I sure hope she does it. It was close. It's real close. But, I've learned a long time ago when it comes to politics and everything else, you don't always get what you want. Unfortunately, I think that Pennsylvania really threw a wrench on us right there. I mean, that Republican senator retiring put a hurting on us. I think he could have gone back in as the incumbent, but he decided to retire, and that hurt. Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump, like I said, Trump's policy, I don't have any problem with some of the policies. The problem I have with Trump is the delivery of the policy. I mean, it's all about him at this point. And there'll be a lot of people. I mean, if it comes down between Biden and Trump, I'll vote for Trump. But I won't vote for Trump in a primary, I don't think. If it comes up between Trump and somebody like DeSantis or some of these others, I would vote for somebody else other than Trump if they were strong enough. But that's going to be tough. I mean, Trump is the bull in the China store. I mean, he's got a lot of weight. And if he runs, unless he gets indicted by something and kicks him out of there, he'll probably be the Republican nominee if we don't watch it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Taylor. Yeah, it didn't make me happy either. I mean, I was, the thing that bothered me, everybody kept saying, we're going to have this great red wave. And I think it discouraged people. Sometimes when it's just like the Trump theory, like I'm talking about, you brag about something too much and people will vote against you just because you're bragging about it. And that's what we have with Trump is the fact that, he brags too much and he comes off too arrogant for a lot of people. Now, what he's wanting, and what his policymakers put together is what I want. I mean, I'm very thankful for the Supreme Court justices we got. I'm very thankful for some of the things that he got done on the pipelines and the border wall and all that. That's great. And then Biden comes in there and knocks it down. And I would have thought energy and inflation and everything else would have had people voting better. But for some reason, some of these people, and I'm not going to be too bothered by them when they're shivering in their boots in Philadelphia and New York for voting in these Democrats when they can't get the fuel or can't afford fuel and heat and everything else. I'm going to be hard pressed worrying about them as much as I should. I mean, even though, I can't blame individual people, but people need to understand where the problem is. And that's what bothers me. And like I said, some of the things that Trump did campaigning for some of these people right at the end probably knocked some of the independents from voting for him, for voting for the candidate. I mean, he got up there and it was more about him than the candidate. It was more about still election denial. And people are tired of that. Move on. Tired of it. Move on. Don't worry about the January 6th stuff. Don't worry about that. Move on. I want that out of the rear view mirror. No, Trump can't win nationally, in my opinion, either. That's his problem. He can win a convention, but he's not going to win a major election again, I'm afraid. I mean, you can look at the statistics. He's got too many people that dislike him, not so much the policy, they dislike him. And I want somebody new with the same policy that's not as abrasive as Trump. And that's the problem. And that's what we run into. Hey, Patrick, how are you? You doing good over in Austria? It's turned a little bit chilly over here. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I'm just disappointed. You know, we got to look past one person policy. I mean, I don't want to. Let me fix something here on my screen. I don't want to have one person to feel like they got a dictator type role. I mean, I don't want Biden. I don't want Trump. I don't want any president to feel like that they can dictate to us. What I want is a democracy where the majority of the people feel like they're getting what they want. We want the border secure. We want we want fuel prices coming back down. And why people did not vote for that? I mean, and I blame the media as much as anything. I mean, when you look at the only media, and this is the problem with media, right? We got Fox News that has their narrative, and then all the rest of them combined have the other narrative, and they don't get out and report anymore. Did you see CBS or NBC or ABC or CNN down at the border talking about the border crisis? You didn't see it. And had a lot of the American public seen that and saw a different perspective on that, I think that they would have been upset with it. And we've relied on so much of that other major media. And you know, when you had the days of Walter Cronkite and David Brinkley and some of those, and you felt that they were coming off unbiased. You don't feel that way anymore. Right now, we either have Fox, who is biased Republican, and you got all the rest of them, ABC, NBC, and all the other alphabet that are liberal. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Younger, I like Youngkin. Yeah. I like Youngkin up in Virginia. And see, that's the thing. Donald Trump is already knocking him down. I mean, why are you rallying to knock the good Republicans down when you should rally behind them? But it just, Trump wants to start picking them off one at a time who he thinks could be a foe for him on the Republican side. And that's what's bothering me right now. I mean, you saw some of that in the last Republican convention when you saw him talking about Little Marco, when he talked about Marco Rubio, and then he talked about Ted Cruz that way. Ted Cruz was pretty strong too, and probably could have got in there, but Trump, cut down Ted Cruz, and then he cut down. Well, he knocked Bush out real quick, and I think that's what upset a lot of the other general people too. They thought Bush. Of course, I didn't want Bush. I didn't think we were needing a third Bush up there, and I agree with that. And I don't have any problem not having another Bush, because their policy was too much like the jungle or the swamp, you might say. And so I had no problem. Yeah, well, yeah, and I tell you, DeSantis is he's well educated, and that's one thing you got. I mean, he's well educated. I mean, he went to Yale. He was a JAG officer in the Navy, wasn't it? I believe. And he was, he did well. Now, it's aggravating that, Trump gets in and he brags about it. If it wasn't for the way he did it, DeSantis wouldn't have won. If he hadn't done this, he hadn't done that, DeSantis never would have won. And really, Trump even said something the other day that could have got himself indicted if he actually did what he said he did. And people will probably be looking into that. He was talking about stopping some of the election results or something. So it's terrible. Yeah, the Newsom's, and you know, I look for Newsom to still push his way up. You know, the Democratic ticket's going to look, I mean, Biden turns 80 this week, or already has turned 80. He'll be 82 when he, or right at 82 when the election comes down next time. And if he doesn't improve, I just don't understand it. But we'll see. I mean, heck, they put when you put what was it, Fetterman? God, when you put somebody like Fetterman in office, the Democrats will stick anybody in there. And then to turn around on some of the shows and say, well, he might be a presidential candidate. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding. A guy who won't even put on a suit, runs around in a hoodie, can't speak a full, complete sentence, and somebody saying he's a presidential candidate. I mean, some of them will latch on to anybody they think that'll get votes. And that one was weird to me. I mean, really weird. But, you know, you never know about these crazy people. You never know. No, I don't trust the media either, Walter. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Politics is a lot like football, and we don't know till the last second. Sometimes it goes into overtime, and sometimes the officials don't call the penalties where they should be called too, or call penalties when they shouldn't be called. So yeah, it's a lot like that. -10. Woo! Good gracious. Where are you at, Tanker Monkey? You must be up in the northwest. I'm glad it's not -10 here. I mean, it's yeah, I saw that there, where they reelected the dead candidate in Pennsylvania. So that goes to show you, Pennsylvania, they don't care who's on the ticket. They'll elect somebody, the guy that died. That was crazy. But yeah, it's something. 40 minutes from Canada. Whoo! -10. Where are you at in the Dakotas, or are you out in Oregon, Idaho, or somewhere up in there? You must be. You're where I don't want to be. I don't want to be up there at all. Yeah, I don't care to be at -10 right now. I know I've seen some of I watch the Millennial Farmer online, and he you can get a gist of how the weather's going up there in Minnesota. He's in about the middle part of the state, I think. North Dakota, yeah, whoo, North Dakota. Oh Lorda, I don't envy you there. That's for sure. The Dakotas can be cold real quick. But that's one state I have never been in, North Dakota. I need to go there in the warm springtime or the summertime. I don't need to be. I don't want to go there in the wintertime. But yeah, that's part of the United States that I've never been at, was in the Dakotas. But if I can get stay healthy this next year, my wife and I, we've talked about, we've got a lot of things finished and out of our troubles and everything. Although last night it's sort of funny. Last night I dreamed about my FedEx days, and I was almost dreaming that needing to dispatch a driver out, everything else. So it sometimes you'll get a nightmare like that. And I was thinking, oh crap, I got to find a load for this driver or whatever, and it harkened back until the days of having to do that. And boy, am I glad I don't have to do that anymore. I mean, it was tough. Oh, good gracious. Yeah, I bet so. You be careful out there, tanker. I tell you, it definitely is not a good thing to see on the roads, seeing that black ice and everything else. Because I just I don't miss that. I mean, we'd get black ice down here in the South, and we don't treat our roads as good as they do up north. So it's a tough situation down here. People, it's better. It's sort of crazy where they have more snow, more ice. They have a better way of cleaning the stuff off, and they do a lot better job than we do down here. So if I had my druthers, I would rather drive in snow and ice and everything up north than I had down south. Down south, it's more treacherous because we don't know how to treat the roads, or we don't. We don't treat the roads good, and we don't. We definitely don't remove them. As I told somebody one other time, they asked me, said, well, how did y'all remove snow? I said, we got the religious way of doing it down here. We let the good Lord remove the snow down here, bring out the sunshine. It's gone in a couple of days. And that's about the way we remove snow down here. Yeah. Yeah. Anywhere in the South, one of the biggest backups I'd ever gotten into was coming out of Georgia into South Carolina, probably about 20 years ago. And there was like a small ice and snowstorm, a sleet and snow storm that hit southern part of South Carolina and northern part of Georgia, or northwestern, or that'd be northeast part of Georgia, down below Clemson. If y'all know where it was, down below Clemson's where it was at. And my brother and I, we were coming back out of Georgia, and we got in a snowstorm, and it wasn't that bad, but it was just enough that it created ice on the road. And trust me, the state of South Carolina does not have snow removal equipment. And it took forever. I think we sat down there, I think it was 13 or 14 hours in one spot, about 5 miles inside of South Carolina. And we sat there about 13 or 14 hours before we could actually get the traffic to move, because it was going down a hill and back up another hill, and it just wreaked havoc on the roads. Oh, I know it. That's what I was talking about, Tanker. It's and it did. It wreaked havoc on us, and because they didn't have the roads prepped in any way, and it was getting colder all during the day, and we hit it about, I want to say we hit it about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back into Charlotte till about 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's how bad it was. We were just shut down. I mean, we would go 1 mile an hour, 2 miles, maybe move up 50 feet and everything like that for hours and hours. I mean, it was terrible. Well, Joey, I'm glad you didn't miss us. Yeah. Well, Joey, y'all didn't get Zeldin in. Y'all tried. He put up a good fight, but I tell you, he did. Zeldin helped a bunch of getting some of the districts up there, some of the congressmen in. So out of everything that Zeldin did, he did a lot of good there. They rode the coattails of that wave, and I think that helped a lot. And hopefully that's going to help get Congress. I mean, they keep saying we're going to take over the Congress and everything else, but we hadn't got it yet. I think last time I looked, we're at 211. But the bad thing about it, the Democrats are now up to like 203 or something like that. Yeah, New York City got you. That's what gets you every time. Now, a lot of the outlying boroughs and everything I noticed were going Republican. But yeah, downtown New York City, they might as well just put a big D in front of anything they could run a mushroom, I believe, and get and win in New York City. It's just sort of disgusting that there's too many people that's how they vote, regardless of who's running. And like I said, you can see that with the Fetterman type situation. I mean, with somebody who can't dress good enough to. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do in Congress. I don't know what the dress code is in Congress in the Senate. But if he comes in with a hoodie and his tattoos showing and everything else, that's going to look really weird. Yeah, he put up the best fight. He put up the best fight of anybody, and it just amazes me that Kathy Holcomb, as lousy as of a job as she's done in just a few months as she's been in there, that they voted her back in. And then to get up and say, oh, nobody's worried about the crime. Well, I think everybody's worried about the crime in New York City. It's gone rampant up there. I mean, when you're even hearing the CNN and some of these other commentators talking about when they go into the local grocery stores, I mean, they got everything locked up. You can't get shampoo or razors or anything. Everything is locked up. So you have to get permission to have somebody with a key to open it up to get it, because too much of this snatch and grab stuff going on up there. I mean, stores can't stay open like that. I don't know how anybody thinks that stores can stay open when they're going to get robbed and there's no retribution on it. Oh yeah, and that bail reform's terrible. Yeah, crazy Grooves. Well, I can't. Thank goodness we're not that bad here at the South yet. I mean, it could get that bad. It'll transcend the entire United States if the lawlessness, gets where everybody thinks they can do that. All right, somebody help me knock out this porn stuff coming in. Come on, guys, help me out here. Joey, one of you guys, help me knock out that. I don't have my mouse up here. Somebody throwing up a bunch of porn comments there. Help me knock that dude out. That's 69, whatever. Help me block this dude. I'm gonna block him. Try to block him here. Yeah, now we got him off. That's all I need. I don't know where these porn people, they think they can jump in there and just try to take over. Well, that's what I'm afraid of, that Fetterman might be the new normal, Jamie. Yeah, I got him off now. I see him. He's off. Yeah, well, I guess I saw it quicker on my side. I got him off. Yeah. Yeah, he was throwing up a bunch of stuff right there right quick. But yeah, I had to work fast. Me. Yeah, he put 2 or 3 of those porn links up there. But they'll pop up and come up with something else. Oh, I know it. I agree with you, Aaron. I mean, if Fetterman is the new normal, God help us out there. That's all he can do. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with everything. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Are you where it's nice and warm? Tanker Monkey said he was out. It was -10 in North Dakota where he's driving. Yeah. Yeah, that's my tech part of the channel. I jumped on it right quick. Well, I wish, that's New York City again, Joey. I mean, AOC, there was a ton of people that didn't like her in one of her things, and she got right cocky, got out there and was dancing when they were protesting her, and she thought she could just get away with anything, which she's been able to do. So it's 38 degrees in Syracuse. Wow. Well, that's warmer than I thought. It was 40 degrees here a while ago when I came up to the shop. Oh, you're in a Super 8 in Hammond, Indiana. Well, you're staying warm, huh? Well, that's the good thing. At least you're staying good and warm. Yeah, what's the temperature up in Hammond, Indiana? This cold front's coming through. It yesterday, it was hot. It was actually hot here. And I was watching the football games, and I was watching where it snowed in Arkansas and a lot of other places like that. And I said, oh, me, that's coming this way. It came right up I-40. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice here yesterday. It got into the 70s, I believe, yesterday. And then today, the high is going to be about 50, I think. Yeah, you're down there in Florida. You're down there where it's nice and warm still. Yeah, it's probably going to get chilly down there. Probably lows in the upper 50s. Well, I mean, you've got so many people like that that's out of touch, and I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to have to give it our best shot, hang on, keep preaching to the choir, and try to get this world turned around a little bit. But I just don't know where some of these people are coming from that are wanting to continually just keep voting the same people in. I mean, it's pathetic. And maybe we can get the policy changed, and that's what I'm saying. I hope we can get somebody that will help us with the policy the right way. And I hate to be down on Trump so much, but I don't like the way Trump's running the situation for a lot of people right now. I hope that I liked what he did as far as the border. I like what he did on energy. I liked a lot of things like that. He was turning some things around, but his rhetoric is so demeaning to so many people. He turns off the voter, and that's the biggest problem we've got with that right now. You've got to be able to align yourself with the voters, and he can't do it. He's not pleasant enough to win over the mass. I mean, he did real good last time, and a lot of people have a lot of questions about everything last time. And I still think we need voter ID in places. We need to be able to verify voters. We don't need to just say willy-nilly, yeah, I live over here on this. I mean, when I went to vote, all they asked for was my address. They didn't even ask for any ID whatsoever. I mean, I could have voted. My wife, she said she was tempted to ask about her mother's name if it was still on the ballot, because her mother passed away last year, and she was still curious if she could have voted in her place, or if somebody could have. I mean, it's really terrible. Yeah, I know it. I'm over them too. I'm just I guess this will be my last time of talking about it, because I'm sort of over it. I feel like moving on. Uh, we'll make the best of what we got. We'll adapt. I mean, that's a good thing about people like ourselves. We learn to adapt. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's great if you got that. I like the idea of voter ID. I mean, you have to show your ID to do anything. If you go to the bank to withdraw money, you have to show them your ID. If you go to get on the airplane, you have to show them your ID. You don't get anywhere without showing your ID. So what our most sacred right of being able to vote, what is wrong with showing voter ID? I mean, that just verifies that you are who they say you are and that you are really legally obligated to be able to vote. Yeah, I know it. And the mail, this is sort of what we get with the mail-in. I mean, that's what's disrupting a lot of the system is mail-in ballots. And the fact that they send multiples of these out in a lot of places. I mean, they say out in Arizona and Nevada and a couple of places like that, the people were getting 5 and 6 mail-in ballots sent to them. And that's just not good. Yeah, we need to standardize that pretty much, and if we could come across. Um, yep, they do need to get the absentee and if they're going to do allow mail in, get them in and get them counted, have them ready to rock and roll, and then see how the election goes. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what happens, and I think that's what happens with a lot of them is they get all these different stuffed ballots like that, and they'll just send them on through. Yeah. Well, and Florida. Look how when if you're old enough to remember, Florida's hanging chads and everything that they had years ago. They corrected that. Now Florida is quick. Florida had everything decided within 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, that balloting harvesting. We had a problem with that here in North Carolina, and it went both ways, both Republican and Democrats. We had one guy had to drop out of a race because he was involved with some of that, and just it's pathetic. I mean, when some of these places, when you're looking at just a difference of maybe a 1,000 votes or less, and you get out there and you harvest 1,000 votes, and you know that they're, I mean, a lot of times they'll get some of these people and it's harvesting stuff. They'll just tell people, say, well, just sign here. We know it's complicated. We'll fill in the rest for you and take their vote. All they're after is their signature. If they can get a verified signature, and they're off and gone. Yeah. Yeah. Ballot harvesting is just, I mean, it is like it sounds. When you're harvesting things, I mean, you're lumping it all together and you're collecting it, and you know, it sounds bad. Yeah. Well, I researched mine. I mean, we didn't have that much on the ballot. We didn't have any propositions or anything else to vote on. I think there was maybe one proposition down in Gastonia, but I didn't have to vote on that. That was more of a Gastonia proposition. But as far as ours, we were pretty strong Republican in this county. We had several that went in unopposed. County commissioners. We had the sheriff went in unopposed. The county commission. We had I think 3 county commissioners that went in unopposed as a Republican. I mean, if you won the Republican primary, you were in. and that was sort of strange. And I mean, I don't want to see it all like that forever. Because it used to be that way when I was young. The Democrats were that way, and early on I registered as a Democrat because I was convinced by one of the the guy that actually signed us up for when I first registered. He said, "Well, if you want to vote in North Carolina, you might as well vote as a Democrat because there's very few Republicans." And he was right at the time. And then that wave sort of, with Ronald Reagan coming in and sort of a new way of Republicans coming in, that changed in the 80s and 90s. But in the 60s and 70s, North Carolina was a blue state. It was Southern Democrats, and that was about it. And now these Southern Democrats have sort of converted over to Republicans, and it's changed a lot. Oh, I know. The inner city is just, I don't know. I mean, you have too many of the young and the blacks and the Hispanic that are indoctrinated thinking that the Democratic way is the only way. And especially the young college kids and the young college girls and everything are just, they have got such a liberal mindset. It's pathetic. And we've got to get away from that. We got to get away from the people that feel like that they're entitled. And that's the entitled people are the ones that are voting Democratic a lot. Yeah, I remember old Ross Perot. Ross Perot, had they not, that they really did him wrong, he would have been the strongest third-party candidate that we would have ever had. I liked old Ross Perot, and I would have voted for him had he made it to the general election and everything. But he put a hurting on him back in the was that 80s, 90s? That was 90s. And he was the strongest third-party candidate that we ever had. Yeah. Yeah, I liked old Ross Perot. He was just an old Texan, made it rich. He got rich off of, I believe it was General Motors. He had some software programs and everything else that did good for the automotive industry and got filthy rich. And he was able to, he basically, bankrolled his own campaign and everything. He is a good old fella. Oh, I know it. Yeah, Ross Perot had some good ideas, and really, I think he kind of spurred on some of the ways that the Republican Party kind of picked up, and I liked what he was talking about. He just like everybody else that tries a third party thing. The Democratic and Republican machines, they tried to dig up dirt on him and made him look bad, and it just I forgot what it was they got on him. They got something that made him sound a little bit crazy, which he wasn't, and it just kind of bad. Oh, he was big time bad. He was 100% right about NAFTA. He was the only one that getting up there talking bad about NAFTA, and all the rest of them were saying, "Well, yeah, NAFTA will be a good thing," and boy, NAFTA was not. I mean, you could see that a mile away that NAFTA was going to hurt us, and it took years to get over that. Well, we're still not over it, really. Yeah, well, I know it. I mean, Ross Perot, he had his facts and figures, and he was a smart guy, I thought. And it just, like I said, running as an independent is still the hardest thing anybody could even want to do. And basically, you have no support, and you have to do your own grassroots campaign that way, and that's a terrible, hard thing to do. Yeah, It's tough, but maybe we can get this thing turned around a little bit. Just hope and pray that we can get the 218. I think we're at 211 or 212 now. I hope we can get that up to 218 before the week's through. And if we can get the 218 majority, we'll have one house of that we can control, and we can get some of these investigations started anyway. The problem is the Senate won't take up some of these things because of the fact that we won't have the majority. So we're going to be kicked away right there at the curb. But if we don't have Nancy Pelosi there, just not having Nancy, just not doing any of those things will probably help a lot. And if we can at least bring some of this other stuff to light, if we can show the nation what Hunter Biden was up against, and if they can show that Hunter and Joe were in collusion, which they were, everybody knows it, that we can get, like they say, the Biden crime family out of there. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. I don't know what we can do or not. Hey, Fleet Tech, how is it down in Atlanta? It's getting chilly up here. Yeah. Yeah, the lesser of two evils. And I mean, we're just we're in a tough shape when it goes to straighten anything out there. And you got the party loyals, both right and left. So it's almost impossible. I mean, I don't know how we could ever get a third party candidate in again. Well, I mean, we never have as a president. Well, I take that back. You get back in the 1700s and 1800s. I mean, we had the Whig, the Democratic, and Republican Party. So we actually had three parties back then. We weren't just two parties. But it filtered after the 1860s, I believe. It was just down to the Democratic and Republican. But it's a tough road to hoe. And it's crazy how you when you go back and look at history, and I love watching some of the History Channel stuff and some of these other good documentaries, and it talks about how big business manipulated government way back and everything. And that's when you go back and you look at William McKinley, how he was manipulated by J.P. Morgan and John D. Rockefeller and Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie, and all those. They more or less paid to get William McKinley in, but then he got shot and was assassinated, and they ended up with Teddy Roosevelt, who was totally against them. And it's kind of a crazy thing, but I love watching history stuff like that. And the problem is, as they say, you need to study history, because if you don't, you're destined probably to repeat history. And when you go back and study history, you'll see how we do that. Ever so often, we do the exact same crazy things that we did 100 years ago. Those crazy things are coming down the pipeline again. When you see, especially if you get a chance, if you get to read up or watch some of these things on the History Channel, and they're on YouTube too. You can watch a History Channel version on YouTube about the people at the turn of the century, on J.P. Morgan and Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, how they were similar to the big tech that we got right now, and the big tech manipulating the way that people vote and everything. And that's what we got. We got a repeat of that right now in the 21st century. Yeah, the Men Who Built America series. Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Taylor. Everybody ought to go watch that, and you can get it on YouTube too, or Netflix and some of these others. But that is a good series. Yeah. Yeah, I like those, and I watched some of those a few weeks ago, and one's about like I said, how McKinley was basically put in, and they and it's almost identical to what you see now. A little bit variation, but so much similarity. It's pathetic. And when you see the parallels of, like I said, of these people that try to control how the electorate feel and everything, and how industry and everything squashed the small man, and how you know the it's really really informative to see some of that and to see how they did it back then, and then parallel that with what we're going through now, and how the electric it's manipulated by big tech now. Oh yeah, the big bucks get it every time. Yeah, well, it is it's terrible to be manipulated by anybody like that, or be squashed by anybody. And this is the rise and the fall of the unions early on, uh, whether all the different industries you see it, the uprising of different things, and try to get a balance. Yeah, yeah, YouTube wouldn't go as cheap as 44 billion. That's a problem. And the problem, I mean, Elon, it's crazy how Elon went from being, the people on the left loved him. They thought he was the greatest thing. He came out with uh, the Tesla. He was the greatest thing, SpaceX, his satellites, everything. And then when he decides to help with uh, and buy uh, Twitter, I had to think for a second. I was about to say Netflix, but when he bought Twitter, he just brought on all the ills because he wanted to open it up again. He wanted to have freedom. Oh no, the left didn't want freedom because they had all their buddies squashing what the right was saying, and that's what changed it. Yeah, yeah. Give me a thumbs up, guys. Help my channel here a bit. These thumbs up actually help. Just don't do any other finger, just the thumb. Yeah, that's the one I need. I need the thumb. No other appendage is shown. Yeah, yeah. I tell you what, we've got to challenge that and work hard this over the next couple of years. Maybe we can right this ship. Maybe we can. Maybe things will change for the better. I sure hope so. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, well, he didn't. It wasn't so much Trump that he wanted to open up, just give the conservatives a voice, and oh no, the liberals weren't going to stand for it. I mean, and he's offered Trump a way back in, but Trump wants to promote his own channel, that Truth Network. I don't know how good that's doing. I haven't even been on it, and so that's his channel, and it'll be what it'll be. Hey James, how are you? Everybody seems to be doing good. Everybody's doing good. It's a little bit chilly out here. I'm here in the shop this morning, and I don't have the heat on, but it's the overall heat in the shop's pretty decent, but it's chilly outside. It's like, I think it was 39, 40 degrees when I got up. No, they don't. Liberals, they got their own way of thinking there, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just not. Well, that's good, James. I'm glad you're doing good. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody, we got to get back to work. Now, I know everybody needs to get back to work and work hard this next year or so. Hopefully we can turn things around a little bit. I don't know if we can or not. I sure hope things will, but it is what it is. All we can do is work as hard as we can and hopefully don't let the U.S. go down the tubes. I bet it is cheaper to get a room than idle that truck right now at $5 and $6. How much has the fuel been going for up there? $5 and $6 a gallon. I think it's $5.39 down here, and that's the part that just drives you crazy. That we're not drilling, and we're not trying to produce more oil. I mean, the craziness of this policy, of this president, of that one particular thing, it just, it's terrible. Yeah, you sit out there in a truck and freeze. I tell you, it is tough. Yeah, you can get a hotel. I don't know what you can get a hotel room for now. Probably $70, $80 a night. $5.55 on average. $5.55, and that means you're paying. The average big truck's got two 110-gallon tanks, so that's 220. So 200 times, so you're looking what, $1,400 to fill up. $1,400 to fill up. And if people don't think that's a pain, Well, I know, and that's the thing about it. Yeah, he said it just the other day, right after the election. Oh yeah, he was going to stop drilling. He's not going to drill, and I don't know how he expects to. I don't know. I guess he's going to do a magic wand or something and get oil out of the ground and restrict it. $70. Well, you probably were more comfortable in a hotel and everything. When you delivering a load or picking up a load? Well, and that's part of the problem too, Walter, is that there's still people out there working off the government right now. And, I don't know what, there's no incentive whatsoever. I guess I've got a little bit of government. I'm retired, but I don't live. I would hate to think that I can only live off my Social Security. That wouldn't be enough. Thank goodness my investments are what I'm living off of. And the Social Security supplemental, but I paid into it for 55 years. So I think I'm deserving of a little bit of my fair share back. Oh, you're in between loads right now. Well, maybe you can get you a load and get going real quick and get back down there. Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's pathetic. Energy is going to be a problem for us for a long time if they don't correct some things. I just don't know. We've got to get our energy policies straightened out, because for some reason or other, Joe's mind is that we're going to build enough solar and wind farms that will be able to power everything. And then the first natural disaster comes through, then the grid goes completely down. So I don't know. It's bad thinking. Well, guys, I am going to get off of this, and I've enjoyed it. We've had a great crowd this morning. I'm going to call it a day. Give me a thumbs up if you can, and I do appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Maybe I can get out here and do some more individual videos too. Christmas trees from Michigan to Oklahoma. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, y'all guys take care. I'll see you later.